What if your fruit tree is not actually lazy at all? What if it has the ability to produce a beautiful harvest, but right now it is spending almost all of its energy on the wrong things? You water it, fertilize it, prune it, and wait patiently, yet all you get is a tree covered in green leaves with hardly any fruit. Before you spend another dollar on expensive fertilizers or questionable homemade mixtures, take a closer look at the way your tree is growing. Sometimes the problem is not a lack of nutrients. Sometimes the tree simply needs the right signal to change its priorities. Today, I want to show you 3 simple techniques that can help encourage a mature, healthy fruit tree to shift its attention from endless leafy growth toward flowering and fruit production. These are not magic tricks, and they should never replace proper sunlight, watering, nutrition, pruning, and good overall tree care. But when used carefully and at the right stage of the season, they can make a surprisingly noticeable difference. Let's begin with the first technique, because you can identify the problem simply by looking up into your tree. Stand beside the tree and examine the branches carefully. Are there long, strong shoots growing almost perfectly straight toward the sky? These vigorous upright shoots are often called water sprouts or overly vertical shoots, and they can become a major source of unwanted vegetative growth. At first glance, they look fantastic. They are green, healthy, and growing quickly. But there is a catch. A tree naturally distributes its resources according to its growth priorities, and strong upright growth often means the tree is concentrating heavily on producing new wood and extending upward. If your tree is packed with these shoots, it may keep investing energy into becoming bigger and leafier instead of developing productive fruiting wood. So instead of immediately feeding the tree more fertilizer, consider changing the position of suitable branches. This is surprisingly simple. Take a soft piece of garden cord or flexible rope. Avoid thin wire because it can cut into the bark and create a wound as the branch moves or expands. Carefully attach the cord to the upper portion of the branch you want to redirect. Then slowly guide that branch downward. Do not bend it aggressively, and never force a stiff branch into a position it cannot safely handle. The goal is a gradual change, not a dramatic bend. Once the branch reaches a more horizontal position, secure the cord to a sturdy stake, suitable anchor, or another safe support. Now the branch is no longer pointing straight upward. Why does this matter? Branch angle can influence the balance between vegetative and reproductive growth. A strongly upright branch tends to remain vigorous, while a more horizontal position can encourage buds along the branch to behave differently and, in many fruit trees, can promote the development of fruiting structures. Think about it this way. Instead of allowing one branch to behave like a fast-growing highway, sending energy toward the top of the tree, you are changing its direction and encouraging a more balanced distribution of growth along the branch. Over time, suitable buds may begin developing into flower-bearing growth instead of producing another long shoot. This technique is especially useful when you notice a tree that is extremely vigorous but produces very little fruit. However, don't assume every branch should be tied down. Weak, damaged, young, or unsuitable branches may need a different approach. The goal is to manage excessive upright growth, not to force every branch into one position. And that brings us to the second technique, which is much more unusual. Sometimes a fruit tree grows extremely well because its roots have everything they could possibly want. Plenty of water, soft soil, constant nutrients, and almost no environmental pressure. The result can be a huge, beautiful tree that seems determined to produce leaves instead of fruit. If you only want shade, that might be wonderful. But if you planted the tree because you want lemons, oranges, apples, or another harvest, excessive vegetative growth can become frustrating. In some situations, carefully managed root zone stress can encourage a mature tree to change its growth priorities. But this is where caution becomes extremely important. If your tree is growing in a container, some gardeners use a hand trowel to make a very shallow pass through the soil near the outer edge of the pot, staying well away from the trunk and avoiding major roots. The purpose is not to dig up the plant or destroy its root ball. You are simply creating a small, controlled disturbance in the outer root zone. If the tree is planted in the ground, the concept can be adapted with a shovel by making a few shallow cuts around the outer root area rather than digging directly beside the trunk. But remember this rule. More damage does not mean more fruit. Never attack thick structural roots, Never tear apart the entire root system. And never perform this technique on a weak, diseased, newly transplanted, or already stressed tree. The reason controlled stress can sometimes influence flowering is simple. Plants respond to changes in their environment. When growth conditions shift, the plant may alter how it distributes its resources. A mature tree that has been putting nearly everything into leaves may respond to carefully timed stress by slowing excessive vegetative growth and preparing for reproduction. But the timing is far more important than the strength of the stress. You're not trying to hurt the tree. You're simply giving it a signal that conditions have changed. And there is one more thing you absolutely must understand before trying either of these techniques. The tree's natural season matters. Many fruit trees have a specific flowering period, and techniques intended to encourage flowering should generally be planned around that natural cycle. For many temperate fruit trees, growers may work several weeks before the expected flowering period, often around late winter or early spring, but the exact timing depends on the species, variety, local climate, and weather. If you try to force flowering at the wrong time, the tree may produce flowers when temperatures or other conditions are unsuitable, and those flowers may fall without developing into fruit. So don't rush. Learn when your particular tree normally flowers, observe its growth pattern, and then work with its natural rhythm rather than against it. Now let's move to the third and final technique, and this one is all about water. It sounds almost too simple, but the way you water a mature fruit tree can influence how it responds to its environment. Many gardeners get into the habit of giving their tree the same amount of water every day, regardless of weather, soil condition, or the tree's actual needs. The tree becomes accustomed to a constant supply of moisture, and in certain situations that can encourage continued vegetative growth. If the tree has plenty of water, plenty of nutrients, and ideal growing conditions, it may simply continue producing leaves and shoots without feeling much pressure to reproduce. The idea behind controlled water stress is to temporarily change that routine and give the tree a natural environmental signal. But listen carefully. This does not mean abandoning your tree and allowing it to become severely dehydrated. Serious drought can damage roots, scorch leaves, weaken the plant, and reduce the harvest rather than improving it. The technique, when appropriate, should involve careful observation rather than blindly following a fixed number of days. Allow the growing medium to dry to an appropriate level for the specific tree and conditions, and watch the plant closely. As mild water stress begins, you may notice the leaves becoming slightly less firm or beginning to curl a little. That is a warning signal, not an invitation to keep waiting until the tree is collapsing. Never allow prolonged severe wilting, leaf scorching, or major leaf drop just to test a technique. Once the tree reaches an appropriate mild stress point, the next step is to thoroughly rehydrate the root zone. Water slowly and deeply enough to moisten the growing medium properly, especially if the tree is in a container. The goal is to create a short change in water availability followed by recovery, not to punish the plant. Why might this work? Trees are constantly responding to environmental signals. A temporary change from dry conditions to abundant moisture can resemble the transition between a stressful period and the arrival of more favorable conditions. In some mature fruit trees, carefully managed water stress at the appropriate developmental stage can influence flowering behavior. The plant may respond to the changing conditions by shifting its priorities toward reproduction. But once again, the timing is everything. You should not randomly try this technique in the middle of a hot summer simply because you want more flowers. A tree under extreme heat may already be struggling, and additional stress can do real harm. The safest approach is to understand your tree's natural flowering cycle first. For many trees that bloom toward the end of winter or during early spring, cultural techniques intended to influence flowering are generally planned several weeks before that natural period. But there is no universal calendar date that works for every fruit tree. Your climate, variety, age of the tree, container size, soil type, rainfall, and temperature all matter. This is why observing your own tree is so important. And now let's put the three methods together. First, inspect your canopy and identify excessively vigorous upright growth. Where appropriate, carefully redirect suitable branches toward a more horizontal position using soft ties, always avoiding bark damage. Second, Understand the idea of controlled root zone stress, but treat it with extreme caution. If the tree is mature, healthy, and suitable for this approach, only a very limited disturbance should ever be considered, and major roots should never be damaged. Third, manage watering intelligently instead of automatically giving the tree the same amount every day. If a controlled water stress technique is appropriate for your particular tree, monitor the plant closely, avoid severe dehydration, and fully rehydrate it once mild stress appears. But here's the most important lesson of the entire video. None of these techniques can magically turn an unhealthy tree into a productive one. If your tree does not receive enough sunlight, has excessive nitrogen, is severely pruned, has poor pollination, suffers from pests or disease, has root problems, is too young, or simply isn't a suitable fruiting variety for your climate, these techniques will not solve the real problem. Think of them as additional tools, not miracle cures. A healthy tree with the right growing conditions has the best chance of responding positively. And don't forget that some fruit trees naturally take several years before they begin producing significant crops. Sometimes patience is part of the process. Another common mistake is assuming that more stress equals more fruit. It doesn't. The goal is controlled, carefully timed management, not punishment. If you push a tree too hard, you can get exactly the opposite result. Weak growth, damaged roots, poor flowering, premature leaf drop, or a smaller harvest. So always start with the basics. Give your tree appropriate sunlight, water it according to its actual needs, provide balanced nutrition, protect it from pests and disease, and prune it according to the requirements of its species. Then, if the tree is healthy but excessively focused on vegetative growth, these additional techniques may help you guide it toward better flowering. And remember the golden rule. Work with the tree's natural rhythm. The strongest results usually come when your actions support what the plant is already preparing to do naturally. If you time everything correctly, you may begin seeing something very different from the endless green growth you've been dealing with. Flower buds appearing where you once saw only leaves, followed by blossoms, and eventually the tiny beginnings of the harvest you've been waiting for. If your tree has been disappointing you for months or even years, don't immediately assume that it is hopeless. Sometimes the answer is hidden in something as simple as branch position, excessive vegetative growth, poor watering habits, or incorrect timing. And if you want personalized advice, leave a comment telling me which fruit tree you're growing, whether it is planted in the ground or growing in a pot, approximately how old it is, and what kind of climate you have. That information can help identify what may be preventing it from producing. Thanks for watching. Take care of your garden, and I'll see you in the next gardening tip.